what are Ghanaians saying? Are Ghanaians saying that they want to pay and then get a refund later, or saying they don't want to pay? And that's what you would have hoped that would have guided the Lord Justices in their determination of the injunction matter to put a stop to this illegality on the basis of what majority of Ghanaians are asking for, and then expeditiously hear the matter, the substantive matter, and make a determination, and then that settles the matter for all of us. But you see, as we discuss all of this, and as we say e-levy, court case, charging, challenges, the question we should ask ourselves is, why are we here in the first place? Why do we even have this conversation? Okay, because Ököe is talking about how we must all come in to help and all of that. But the question is, why are we here? We're here simply because of the mismanagement of the economy. We're here simply because of the profligacy that has characterized government's behavior. We're here simply because the president and his cronies have chosen to live like Arabian kings. We're here simply because there is blatant wastage in our public sector. We're here simply because we have an over-bloated public service. We're here simply because you have a government that simply has employed persons whose productivity is not matching their remunerations. You have state-owned enterprises, SOEs, running a debt in excess of what, 12 billion? If my figures are right, 5.3 billion actually, just last year in 2020, a debt of 5.3 billion Ghana cedis. The revenues from e-levy alone for this year are supposed to be around 4.5 billion. And those are projections. I can tell you, government will not even make 3 billion. So the 2020 losses by SOEs alone is in excess of 60%. It's like about 160% of what government will actually make from e-levy. You don't want to even look at the 2020 Auditor General's report. That says that there was wastage to the tune of 12 billion. 12 billion, even at the 4.5 billion, 12 billion is almost 300% what e-levy is going to give to us. Okay, for a government that has received in excess of 30 billion Ghana cedis during the COVID era, what is, and they cannot account for it. We have not seen any prudent use of it. A government that has received over 300 billion in revenues, taxes, and grants in its time in office. I mean, if you've given them an elephant and they are still hungry, what will a guinea fowl do to them? They've had an elephant for lunch and they're hungry, and you think that a guinea fowl for supper will satisfy their hunger? Absolutely not. And so that's why we're saying that, look, if we look at the waste in the system and begin to plug the loopholes and the waste, you would actually not need an e-levy, because this is a government that is actually using a basket to fetch water. That's basically what e-levy is, because you have a sinking, you're in sinking sand, you're in a hole, and you're digging yourself in deeper by introducing draconian taxes that are going to hurt the economy, hurt the macroeconomy, hurt the drivers of the economy. Look, what we should rather be having is a government owning up to its irresponsibility and extravagance. A government owning up to its failures and saying, look, we accept we've gotten it wrong up till now. Let's begin to walk back the damage that has been done. A government that will wake up and say, look, where we sit now, we realize that the president has to stop renting and chartering luxurious jets and globetrotting around the world when we have a presidential jet in pristine condition that he can use. He needs to lead by example. We need to have the president say that, look, myself and my appointees are going to be frugal in our activities. We're going to set KPIs for CEOs of SOEs to meet, else they stop taking the fat allowances that they're taking. People are taking inconvenience allowance for doing the job that they've been paid, they are paid to do. And we think that this is normal, we think that this is okay. Look, it is this mess. Until, you see, you can have the people pay more taxes when they see proper accountability for the taxes that they pay. People make reference to the UK and say that the UK has raised its NHI, the premium that you pay for the NHIS in the NHS in the UK. Yes, and that's because people see that when they need an ambulance, There's an ambulance that comes there to carry them without them having to pay the ambulance driver 150 cedis or 600 cedis for fuel. Because when they pay the NHS, the monies are used. He's going to the NHIA. I feel bad, even though we celebrate him, I feel bad for him. Because yes, the finance minister is collecting the national health insurance levy, but is remitting only 6% to the authority. So how is he supposed to work? How is he supposed to work? You take in excess of 1.2 billion and you remit less than 172 million to the authority. How do you expect the authority to work? This is a statutory payment. So Ököe is going there and is going to work on fumes, gas, no substance. Because the finance minister is sitting on a substance. What are they using the monies for? You cannot see. You can't see the infrastructure that is being put up with the monies that they are borrowing. 300 billion in revenues to this government. You can't see it. So it is this, Ghanaians will be willing to pay more taxes if we saw accountability, if we can get accountability from the government. For example, and I'm just going to give you a few items we would love to see accountability on from the government. We would love to see accountability on the $1 billion facility from the IMF for COVID. We would love to see accountability of the $200 million that they took from the stabilization fund. We would love to see accountability on the $430 million that came from the World Bank. Accountability to the minutiae on the 400 million USDs out of the 1 billion USD US dollar SDR rights provided to the Bank of Ghana that we have already drawn. Accountability on the over $100 million we got from the African Development Bank and bilateral partners. Accountability on the 20 billion Ghana cedis that was taken from the Bank of Ghana to fight COVID. We need to see accountability. Accountability is not in telling me that you gave people fish head and a dry ball of kinky and that you fed Ghanaians. No. Accountability is not telling us you gave free water and free electricity when you've increased the prices and introduced COVID levy to recover all of that. We need to have a forensic audit. If government was willing to have a forensic audit, that would explain why 32 million Ghana cedis was spent on conferencing and travels at the time when we had lockdown and the whole country was in lockdown. Our airports was closed, so nobody could travel outside. People held Zoom meetings and it cost us 32 million Ghana cedis during COVID, from COVID funds at the Ministry of Health. It is when you begin to have a forensic audit of this, like you saw Chikwera do in Malawi, and lead to the prosecution and jailing of persons who were responsible for managing COVID funds. It is only when you see your government show such accountability that when the government asks you to give more, you know that it's going in the right place. Today, the major question Ghanaians are asking, why should we? We've given you an elephant for lunch. It didn't satisfy you. It's our small guinea fowl that will satisfy you.